Guys, let's start with some Bitcoin mining news. And we start with that Bitcoin miners see worst revenues in 11 months as difficulty climbs. Now, the 11 months is kind of a euphemism because the last time it was this low was in September of last year. But the value of Bitcoin September of last year was like 25, 26,000. So that's why it was lower in September of last year. But you have to remember the mining difficulty was also much, much lower in September of last year, and the mining cost was much, much lower. So they could have still made a profit September of last year, but now they can't make a profit, which spells trouble. Bitcoin needs its hash rate for security purposes, and this is going to make a lot of miners switch over to AI. Now, this actually means that the value of Bitcoin has to go up soon. Otherwise, the mining market could see a big crash. I do think BlackRock and Co. will actually fill in the gaps. I think they have too much invested in Bitcoin to just let it flop at this point. So I think they will actually manipulate the prices upward if this actually lasts any longer. Because right now, Bitcoin miners are not making a profit and they can't take losses forever, especially in the bullish part of the market. Especially after the halving, because price was supposed to be a lot higher than this at this point, and they can't have it be that much lower. So Bitcoin miners just recorded their lowest revenue generating month since September 2023, as the number of coins mined fell in August. Now I do think that's a little bit because of the difficulty adjustment and stuff, that there's slightly less coins mined in August than July. But the other kicker is there's less Bitcoin transactions than July, and part of the mining profit is the fees off those transactions. Less fees, less congestion, less fees per transaction, and less transactions overall mean very, very sad miners. So miner revenue only reached 827.56 million in August, and it dropped over 10% from the 927 million in July. It was 5% up from August 2023, but remember, mining costs have more than doubled from August 2023. So that's not good for the miners, very little profit, and this has actually caused many of them to actually switch over to AI. In fact, revenues have not been this particularly low since September of 2023 when they were 727 million. Now, 827 million is obviously 100 million more, but remember, in September of 23, Bitcoin price roughly hovered around $25,000 throughout the entire month. And that means right now the price is at almost $60,000. But that obviously is because of the halving, and they're generating less than half of the Bitcoin as last September. And of course, the mining costs have gone super, super high. So that's why they're losing profit right now. So the revenue drop comes, as I said, as miners were squeezed by falling transaction volumes and a hike in the difficulty of mining Bitcoin. The median fees that made up a percentage of the block reward were 2% over August, and the daily confirmed transaction 30-day average hit a year-to-date peak on July 31st of nearly 631,000 before retracing to 594,000. Because they retraced 5% from July, there's less there's less mining, there's less transaction fees, and that basically contributes to the woefulness of the miners. And the level of mining difficulty has also hit a peak, hitting an all-time high of 89.47 trillion in August, up from 86.87 trillion. So basically, mining difficulty went up, transactions went down, price is slightly down from July, resulting in a very big misbalance of cost to profit ratio, and that's why many are actually going to AI, like I've said. Now, I do think BlackRock and Co. has to remedy this because they don't want to risk Bitcoin going down in terms of too much in terms of the hash rate. So I think this is kind of a bullish sign because there has to be some manipulation to move price up because the big dogs won't just let Bitcoin fall like this. So that's right. I'm guessing that Bitcoin price has to go up in the next few months to compensate for this. And the transactions won't go up until Bitcoin goes up. So they need to make Bitcoin price go up. And I do think the big guys are going to work on this if this continues much longer. May not move up in September, but the Fed rates should actually help it a little bit. But manipulation could actually move it up after September. there is basically a report from the BitMEX founder that decreased Fed interest rate won't actually help Bitcoin. But I actually don't believe that. He's basing this on the fact that Jerome Powell did basically confirm in his Jackson Hole speech that the Fed will actually cut rates, and Bitcoin has actually been lagging since then and hasn't gone up. But here's the thing. He said he's going to, the Fed's going to change position. But here's the important thing. They didn't actually cut Bitcoin. That's right. They didn't actually cut, they didn't actually cut the interest rates. So because they didn't actually cut the interest rates, there's not that effect. And that money is actually flowing out of the bond market, but it's flowing into the repo, like the repo market, the reverse repo market. And that's yielding about like 5.23% right now, whereas the bond's only yielding 4.23. But the thing is, 4.23 is still a pretty high yield. And of course, 5.23 is an even higher yield, so they'll go for that. But that's both affected by interest rates. And as interest rates come down, I do actually believe the chance to make money out of both those markets will come down, and then people will actually switch to Bitcoin. Now, it's going to take more than just a little while because 0.25 interest rate decrease isn't really going to affect the markets much. Some people are saying 0.25 in September, 0.25 in November, and then 0.25 in December for 0.75, which, by the way, was the Fed's original plan. They're just going to stack it at the end of the year. If we have a 0.75% decrease, I do think at the end of the year, you will definitely see like kind of like an increase in Bitcoin buying, and that could actually play into it. So I don't actually think Arthur Hayes is actually right on this. I do think, yes, right now you're not seeing the results because he hasn't started cutting yet. And like I said, 0.25 isn't that much of a cut anyways. But as you rack up those interest rates, as like future expectations come down, as bond and repo rates actually come down, crypto stocks will go up. There's trillions of dollars stuck in that market. The repo thing is really just kind of like a holding place until they want to really allocate the money. And I think some of that money will actually come into crypto. Obviously not all of it, but at least some of it will come into crypto, and that will help crypto a whole lot. So I don't think Arthur Hayes is actually right. I do actually think the Fed rates increasing will actually help Bitcoin. Decentralized social media might have just inadvertently gotten a boost from Brazil. Because remember, Brazil banned X because one of their judges got all pissy with X and X wouldn't succumb to his demands. Well, that might not actually work out in their favor because a decentralized social media network that's very much like Twitter. It's called Blue Sky. It's basically Twitter with a butterfly instead of a little tweeting bird thingy. They've actually gained 15 or 20x the users. They've actually had more than 1 million users sign up in just the short amount of time that X was actually banned in Brazil. Brazilians are looking for a way to gather social media info, and they're turning to Blue Sky that has added 1 million new users in 3 days. So I don't really know if they can keep the momentum going. But, I said, I don't think decentralized social media can work. I still kind of stand by that because you still need advertising revenue to support the platform. But if governments actually ban these centralized platforms, then decentralized platforms will actually kind of be the de facto. And they might actually work then. So government might inadvertently force people to decentralize platforms because they're banning the centralized ones. Now, the content creators still want to get paid on these platforms. And that's where the decentralized platforms will actually have trouble, coming from the money. Because, the big Twitter influencers, the big tubers and stuff like that will actually want to get paid. Now, it's much easier to operate decentralized Twitter than decentralized YouTube because Twitter doesn't really focus on videos and stuff and doesn't have the massive resource requirements that something like YouTube has. Although Twitter has videos, that's not its focus. Just tweeting unfiltered news, that actually might be enough of incentive to get something like Blue Sky going. Of course, 1 million new users is nothing compared to what Twitter had. They had hundreds of millions, but it's a start. And if Blue Sky can actually take this momentum and expand and get a couple 100 million users, especially they can target the countries where kind of media is filtered, because a decentralized platform obviously is much harder to ban and filter out than a centralized platform. They just can't kick a decentralized platform out of the country. People have ways to access it. So that can be a catalyst for growth, and it could be a template example for other decentralized news networks or decentralized social media news to actually kind of spread. because there's opportunity whenever the governments try to censor centralized social media platforms, which they're always kind of trying to do because they want to control the flow of information. So like, maybe like Russians can access Blue Sky, Chinese people can access Blue Sky, things like that. And that could definitely help something like Blue Sky grow. So despite my doubts about decentralized social media, I do actually think a decentralized version of Twitter is possible, whereas a decentralized version of YouTube I don't think is actually possible, just because of the massive requirements that a video sharing platform actually has. And you got to store all that stuff somewhere, you got to get all the bandwidth somewhere, and that costs money. You need the advertising revenue, and you need the influencers to get you their advertising revenue, but the influencers also want to get paid, so there's a lot of give and take. But something like Blue Sky was just like posting news like tweets. I definitely think it's possible to actually work with something like that. So look at the growth of Blue Sky if you really are interested in decentralized social media, and see if that's actually a viable model for the future. There seems to be maybe a fake labor report leak. I think this is from Unusual Whales. I don't know. He said there was like some kind of report that said like in the next labor forecast is going to be kind of down. I think he said like 61,000 less jobs than thought. But like I did click the link under that, and it was just an article about how young people aren't accepting a salary less than $81,000 a year when they looked for a job. Now, I don't really know if that's true or not, but it didn't really have anything to do with the report. So I didn't actually see the actual so-called speculated labor report that came out before the actual Friday labor report. Now, saying that, I would not be all that surprised at all if Friday's labor report did actually come out a little bit softer, or actually quite a lot softer than expected, because I do expect the number of job openings and the hiring rates to actually go down in August and September. So I would bet that it's actually a little bit softer than expected. But the actual the actual report, I didn't really see any elaboration. I didn't really see any like sourcing, or like I couldn't confirm that there was like a leak or a source that said the Bureau of Labor Statistics said like, August hirings are going to be 61,000 less than usual. So I don't really know if that's real. My guess it's fake, but if it is real, I think it would actually help crypto's case, because it might make the case for the Fed to do a 50 basis rate point cut, then a 25 basis point cut. And that would kind of like supercharge when the bull run actually comes. So that's pretty cool. And we got to talk about Justin Sun, because he is taunting Sun token bears at this point. Justin Sun, eccentric personality. And this kind of mirrors FTX Sam Bankman-Fried's move when the Solana token was just trading at $3. This was before Solana went up to like hundreds of dollars and then fell back down to $8 before going up again. But not really, I don't think this is going to end up like the Solana thing, because obviously the Sun token with their meme coins is no longer as big. Obviously they went up a lot lately, and then like Justin Sun was like basically saying to the Sun token meme bears, "How do you like me now, bros?" That's basically like what he was like, and that's just such a Justin Sun thing to do. So Tron founder Justin Sun is taunting bears to market sell their Sun meme coins in a curious echo of previous social media posts made by now bankrupt FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried. So he's basically just taunting them because they were bearish on his token, and his token's gone up a lot because of like all the stuff he's done, whether he's pumped it himself or not. And he's saying like, "Hey, bruh, how do you like me now?" And he's basically just like gloating. Now, this is not a good thing to do if you're ever a CEO. This makes you look childish. But, I guess he just wants to take his wins as he gets them. So like Justin Sun, His Excellency Justin Sun says, "For the haters and those who deliberately spread rumors against us, I'll buy as much Sun as you have right now at 3 cents. Sell me all you want, then go beep off." So very, very interesting. Justin Sun, but also very immature. So Sun is the utility token of Sun Pump, which is like pump.fun, and that is a meme coin launching platform on the Tron network. The Sun token saw a significant price appreciation during August despite the summer illiquidity characteristic of crypto markets. And of course, over the past month, Sun rose over 240% to trade at 3.6 cents. So, I mean, if you look at that, it was under a penny less than a month ago. Now it's 3.6 cents. So the Justin Sun token was an excellent investment since it actually came out. Basically, like you had to buy it at August 26th for it not to be a great investment. But if you bought it any time before August 26th, and there was plenty of time because it came out at the beginning of August, you would have actually tripled your money. So pretty crazy. It is kind of David Javu of SBF and what he did with Solana. But, it's Justin Sun. He does these Justin Sun things, and it's very entertaining for us. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe. Hit that bell notifications button. Thank you, and have a nice day.